I'm delighted to be here, have this chance to talk to you about one aspect of biotechnology, in particular the field of biosensors. My name is Anthony Turner and I'm Emeritus Professor of Biotechnology at Cranfield University in the UK. And I've been in research for rather a long time now, some 45 years, and I go back to days before biotechnology, the word biotechnology, was in common parlance. It really emerged as a modern area in the 1970s, and I was an undergraduate in the 60s and studied a new field then called applied biology, where I studied biochemistry, microbiology, plant physiology, and saw the industrial applications of those areas. I then went on to do a PhD in microbial biochemistry and was lucky enough to land a position in studying bioelectrochemistry and biotransformations. And we were interested there at the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s, in the potential to catalyze interesting and commercially important chemical reactions to make flavors, perfumes, drugs, and to detoxify materials. I was using electrochemistry to drive these biological reactions, and that led me also into the field of biofuel cells and trying to get energy out of biological reactions, an area still very popular now. But I moved rather quickly on into the field of biosensors and looking at really measuring the analyte or the substrate that was being consumed in these reactions and looking at the currents that came out. And I moved to start with my professor at the time, the first biotechnology centre in 1981 in the UK at Cranfield University, and there I led a fledgling group on biosensors, and we were lucky enough to win a substantial commercial contract from an American startup based in Boston. And working in collaboration with Oxford University, we developed a glucose sensor for people with diabetes, and that was launched commercially at the end of 1987. That turned out a big success, but my boss at the time, I remember asking me, okay, that's the end of biosensors, you've done that, what are you going to do next? But I felt there was rather more to do in the field, and I managed to launch a new journal in 1985 called Biosensors, and subsequently Biosensors and Bioelectronics. And in those days, there were just a handful of papers being published in the field of biosensors. I think there were about 100 papers in 1985 on biosensors, and now we see about 6,000 papers a year coming from the field of biosensors. I also launched the World Congress on Biosensors in 1990, and that's the largest conference in the field, so it's grown very much, and I've grown with it and had a career in the field, worked on many aspects of biosensors for environment, for security and defense, for health, and for process monitoring, and had some 50 PhD students now and 350 published peer-reviewed papers. So I'm rather happy with the growth of the field, and it goes on now as I step back and retire and many new areas emerging.